so that we don't lose any valuable feedback that may come out of today's conversation. So thanks for that. So partner notification. What is partner notification? So it's the process of notifying sexual or injecting partners when possible exposure has occurred to HIV. And it helps provide people with some ideas around how to actually deal with the disclosure moment with sexual partners. So basically supports newly diagnosed people and their sexual or injecting partners while building knowledge and competencies to deal with this as an issue. When we first started getting involved in contact tracing as an issue, the contact tracing working group from New South Wales asked us to do a community survey. And when we did the community survey, there was clear evidence from within the community that people were finding it difficult or very difficult to actually disclose and have that conversation with their partners. So basically this is where the concept came from in terms of having more specialised services. So Sexual Health Information Link does specialist advice and support to clinicians and to people who are newly diagnosed. If those services can't be delivered or aren't being delivered with confidence through sexual health services or through a diagnosing doctor. Positive Life New South Wales won't necessarily do the contact tracing with the person that is newly diagnosed, but what we'll do is we'll talk them through what the issues are and make the relevant referrals and try and teach them and educate them about what needs to occur so people can do it with confidence on their own. So these are basically the aims of what we're trying to do. So basically, at the moment, we're not getting a very good yield. At that point of diagnosis and when somebody's having to do the contact tracing, sexual partners don't always know that they need to go and have a test because the conversation isn't typically occurring. So what we're trying to do is through this process is try and get as many people tested as possible. We don't want to end up in a scenario where this is turning into a policing situation from a public health or a disease control perspective where people are doing ring testing for all sexual partners. We're trying to make sure this is an empowered moment where people who are either receiving the diagnosis or potentially being exposed to the virus are able to do that on their own without too much support from the government or from health service providers. So basically, peer-led partner notification project is to provide tools that will be online and that don't necessarily cover HIV disclosure at this point in time. It will provide referral pathways for Positive Life and for other service providers and ensure that people are resourced and empowered and have a positive experience as this is going forward. So there's a range of, when we're talking about a peer-led partner notification toolkit, there's a range of resources that we'll be developing. One-on-one peer support, which is already occurring. We're going to be developing a microsite and an app, which I'm about to introduce you to it. And we've also got some scripts that are in development that will be online and that will be converted into videos. And we'll be delivering training with SHIL to doctors and other health service providers. So basically, this is what we're hoping to achieve and what will peers get out of us actually working in this space. So next is, we're now engaged an external app developer and communications agency, which is called HeadJam, and they've worked in this space for quite a while and worked with ACON in the past around their How Hard website and other campaigns such as the Up Your Bum campaign. So HeadJam have been in this space and are quite familiar with our sector and some of the issues. So we've been doing quite a bit of developmental work and a concept build. And basically this, what I'm about to introduce you to is the work that's come up so far. So the project, we're going to name it at the moment, and what we've come up with, it's going to be called Ripple. And basically where that's coming from, it's if you're looking at the index case, the person that's receiving the positive diagnosis, and then the communications process that will flow from that as the disclosure occurs. So just like a ripple within the pond. So symbolically and conceptually, the name and then some of the branding that's associated with this resource will automatically conjure up ideas around connectivity and shared responsibility. So basically, in terms of the app version, so there will be the microsite and the online version, as well as an opportunity for people to download an app. The app version, that's what the icon will potentially look like. and also basically the logo for Ripple and the campaign itself to increase people's awareness around this. Security is going to be a significant issue for the agency, ensuring that people aren't using this system in a way that's actually going to be abusive or problematic for sexual partners, and to also make sure that people have confidence in the resource and the process itself. So every conversation that we're having, we're always making sure, in terms of empowering people to use this resource themselves, we're making sure that security is in the forefront and people's security and privacy is protected. Getting started screen on the app version will basically look like this. And people can skip this step if they're not wanting to get involved too much at this point in time, or they don't yet have the information. So basically these will be some of the fields or the questions that will be asked so that people can give enough information to electronically. So, and it's not for us to have the information or use the information at all. This resource will be owned by them, and the data that will be within the resource will actually be owned by them as well. So basically, it's to help people work out from a risk assessment perspective or an exposure perspective, help them to work out, have the tools to work out who's been put at risk and who hasn't been put at risk, and then what conversations then need to occur as a result of that. So this will be the home screen once people have gone through the steps of enrolling on the app, and the logo. So that's the concept, Ripple, and potentially electronically. This will be a digital resource, yet again, to empower people so that they can take control of this moment, and so that they're a resource as much as possible if they don't feel like, or if they don't feel confident to actually contact a service such as SHIL or Positive Life New South Wales, or to get that support from their doctor. Happy World AIDS Day, everybody, and coaches at the back of the room if you want to actually talk about this and give some feedback around this concept. This will be in development over the next 3 months. There will be continued focus testing and evaluation of this as this is going live, and it will be up and running and it'll be up and running for the community around March, April next year. So thank you very much, and have a good day and enjoy your drink.